hand. Ben Turner with a big charge up on the left-hand side of the road. Mads Pedersen looking for space on the right by the barriers. Paul Magnier in the mix. Coy on the other side of the road. Van Uden is going to be Pedersen with the charge. Van Uden takes it for Picnic Postenel, a first ever Grand Tour victory for the Dutchman.
Stage 5, 151 kilometres, a short stage from Ceglie-Mezzapica to an uphill finish on Matera, not used at the Giro d'Italia for 5 years, but a real test, especially for the pure sprinters and potentially for the big race favourite Mads Pedersen, who also happens to be the Maglia Rosa. Alpecin-de-Koning with Caden Groves, Egan Bernal for Ineos, looking to shore up his general classification standing and protect that lead. And still big question marks about Wout van Aert's form going into this difficult stage. Olaf Koy as well for Visma Lease Bike, a potential option today. Mads Pedersen though, and Lidl Trek still full of confidence to deliver the Dane yet another victory. Rolling out of town then and heading towards kilometre zero, when the flag dropped, there was an immediate attack, and eventually it didn't take long. 3 riders got away, including almost inevitably one from Polti Visit Malta, and in this case it was Davide Baies, a former winner of a stage at the Giro d'Italia. He was joined by Josué Apis of Arkea B&B Hotels and Lorenzo Milesi, who at first was unsure as to whether or not he should join the 2 other Italians at the front of the race. They then built up an advantage that was no bigger than 2 minutes and 39 seconds at any point as they headed towards the first of the intermediate sprints. Mads Pedersen though, aware that with 3 riders up the road there could still be points available at the first sprint. The first sprint then went to Apis ahead of Baies, and then the Maglia Rosa got involved in the hunt for 3 points and 4th place, comfortably outsprinting Jensen Plowright of the Alpecin-de-Koning team, who picked up just 1. Heading towards the sea then, and as the road flattened out towards the second intermediate sprint at Marina di Ginosa, Jacopo Mosca going about his business and controlling the breakaway, holding them at 2 minutes. It was exactly the same order over the line from the 3 riders at the front of the race, with Epis taking maximum points ahead of Baies, and Jensen Plowright this time pushing Mads Pedersen very hard for those 3 extra points and 4th place. And then they headed towards the Red Bull kilometre, where once again Epis finished ahead of Davide Baies to take the big cash prize. And then the breakaway started to crumble. Davide Baies attacked. Lorenzo Milesi counter-attacked, although Epis sat up. Milesi joined Baies at the front of the race, but with their advantage getting smaller and smaller all the while. Picking up a tailwind though as they headed towards the final difficulties and Matera, one by one the sprinters started to drop away. On the only categorised climb of the day, its steep slopes almost 3 kilometres in length, Milesi went over the top in first place. And a minute later, UAE Team Emirates putting down the hammer and making life very difficult for the sprinters. Mads Pedersen surviving that one in a small front group of the peloton. On the descent, though, that peloton grew as groups managed to get back on, but Olaf Koy and the other sprinters never got back in. The breakaway was eventually caught with just over 10 kilometres to go, and UAE Team Emirates still putting on the pressure. Matthias Vacek very, very vigilant towards the front. Giulio Pellizzari then set up Primož Roglic on the final uncategorised climb with just under 3 kilometres to go, and that did put Mads Pedersen under pressure, but on the flat run-in once again, Pedersen managed to reposition himself, getting on the wheel of Matthias Vacek, who led him out once again brilliantly.
But Pedersen powering to the line, can he hold them all off? Pedersen, Tom Pidcock coming very close now. Pidcock against Pedersen, but Pedersen, all that strength. My word, that was close. Who's got there? They looked down. Pedersen might just have edged them all out. There was a challenge there from Bahrain Victorious too. That was perhaps too close to call.
Oh, Zambanini, I think it was Zambanini came in.
It was Eduardo
behind.
Zambanini.
He was a very close call.
The cameras go straight to Mads Pedersen. What a win from Mads Pedersen. I mean, what can you say about him? What can you say about this Giro d'Italia for Mads Pedersen?
Still not sure that he got the victory until Giulio Ciccone brought him the news that it was indeed stage win number 3 for the Maglia Rosa. Under difficult circumstances, that was the hardest of his 3 wins in the opening 5 stages of this year's Giro. His lead in the general classification, courtesy of the time bonus then, extended to 17 seconds over Primož Roglic. And his iron grip on the Maglia Ciclamino getting ever harder. 139 points to Olaf Koi's 42. No real change for Lorenzo Fortunato, still has a 9-point lead over Sylvain Moniquet. And Matthias Vacek still leads the white jersey standings from Isaac del Toro.